Hey, how's it going, guys? Okay, so I'm working on an 017 right now, and I've actually done most of the conversions to make it a 170. Um, this is one of the series that I get so frustrated with. I see all the time 017, 170, 018, and 180 parts being sold that they fit all the saws and all the parts are interchangeable. You guys, they're so not. Um, different bore size between the 017 and the 170 and 018 and 180. The 017 and 170 same bore size, but one of the differences is the counterweights, and I've been wanting to do a video to cover all of these differences, but I just, again, guys, new to the video thing, still shooting on a phone, which means battery's always dead because I got to take pictures and videos for everything. And so, but right now I'm going to do something that I've never actually done before. And the reason being, gonna flip you. The reason being, down here in that box, if it'll focus, well, it's not going to focus apparently. In that box, that container, all under there is all 017, 170, 018, 180. There's some of it. That box. Oh, not that box. That's tools. But yeah, all of this is these saws. Now, what's the problem? I bought a bunch of them, and I think 9 of them total came in one lot, and I'm so disappointed with the guy. Everything I bought from him was just, he was very deceptive in his pictures, intentionally hid broken stuff, and they were partial saws, I knew that, but when there's 3 of each model and you're looking at it in a fashion of, I can make one saw out of every 3, and so that'll pay for the other stuff, and then I've got parts for future builds, but not the case. And so basically, right now, what I have going on, gonna flip you over again. This is an 017 170 carb, older style 170. And here is a newer style 170, and almost all the 180s have this carb. Some of the 180s have this top with the airport hole instead of this little pinhole here for air, for your metering diaphragm to move up and down. But this one only has a low adjustment screw. High's preset. You can change these, but I don't like messing with carbs. I always screw them up. That's got a Welch plug in it. And so I don't quite know how they do one like that. But I have 2 of these carbs, and they're both bad. I've got to get them in an ultrasonic parts washer and hope that'll work. I've tried soaking them. That hasn't worked. All the ports seem to be clear. I've changed the Welch plugs. I've done everything I can think of doing, save putting it in an ultrasonic parts washer. Sometimes that's the only solution to fix a carb, because there's just something somewhere inside that you can't get out. And so I got 2 of them. This saw's been sitting forever, and I need to start moving some of these little saws. The problem, however, is you have your idle adjustment. As you can see on this carb, there's an idle adjustment. And then up here, this is for, if you look, if that other carb was in here, boom, that hits your low. Now, I can turn in here right now and hit this one adjustment screw. That's all you've got on these carbs. This screw controls the idle, the high, and the low setting. One screw, and that's why it's over here, not down here or over here. It controls all 3. And so with a 170 housing, hold on, let me pause here real quick. Okay, so with the filter housing for a 170 or an 017, you've got this dip, and some of the 018s had this too. But on this one, you've got a porthole, and the problem is you can't really modify these unless, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. I'm going to pull the filter out. I'm going to set this down one sec. Sorry, guys. Okay, unless you were to put some kind of JB weld to make an air port in between here, because as you can see on this one, if we pull the filter, it's closed off, and this hole breathes up through the top through here. And so that's where it pulls in the air to this port to move your metering diaphragm up and down, which pumps your gas. Okay, so now, if we look at the new, this is a newer ms170, and you guys might be saying, well, why doesn't he just take this handle and put it on this saw? Well, because this is got all sorts of fancy upgrades, and this was nearly a complete saw, only missing a few parts in here, and so I want to keep it for this saw. Because I'd rather modify an old 017 and get less money for it than I would a very brand new low hour ms170. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my caliper here, and I'm going to try this. I've never tried it before, but I think it'll work. And I'm just going to kind of measure because I want to get the placement right. And so I'm going to flip. I'm going to show you my idea. You guys can hang out with me. Phone's dying. I'm going to unplug it so I can set it down. I do have a tripod coming, but we'll see when it gets here. Christmas time, you know. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure, because this is the only thing I need. This is going to be the identical handle. The only thing that's different is the screws. The thing I'm facing on this handle, though, is you have in here, I suppose, I don't know what you would call this, but it's connected to the chassis, and it just kind of is a stabilizer for the handle. It helps hold the handle. And on this saw you have it too, but it's lower. And so I'm gonna see, it looks to me that I would have to drill right there, but I'm gonna see if I can't come up here and angle in somehow. Oh, you can't see that hole for that inlet jet, or for that jet to adjust it, wants to be right where this pin is. And so basically what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to measure right now and see if that's where it is, and if so, I'm going to take the handle off, and I'm going to see if I can't move this down into the chassis somewhere down there. But we'll see how. So I'm going to try it. We're just going to take this caliper here. I'm going to take a measurement. My battery's dying already. Brand new battery. And I'm doing this because I don't really have a ruler, and I want to be accurate. Sorry, you're probably looking at my head. So there we go. We got 9.19. So basically, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go 9.19 from the center here. Mark it. And then what I'm going to do, that's from my center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from this point right here, and I'm going to measure up to the bottom of my hole here. I'm actually going to go to the center. I'm trying to get my angle right as well. So 19.37, we're just going to move it over, make sure it doesn't turn. And then all I'm doing is I'm turning this to make a pinpoint here so I can see my mark. Alright, 9.19. Now I'm going to check from the center again. Yep, okay, so the great thing is it's above that bracket. So now what I'm going to do, you guys, so I have my point marked. It's right here is the edge of the hole, right here is the center, and so I'm going to get a drill bit that's the exact size of this hole. I'm going to drill through here and here, and the good thing is, if you look at the housing, it should be right there. That's the fascinating thing, it should end up right there. You look at this newer housing next to it, and you look, you can see where they're slightly different on the edge there, but essentially almost the same. So I shouldn't have to modify the housing at all. And then again, when I list this saw for sale, it'll have a link to this video, number one, and number two, it will have close-up pictures of this if it works. I think it'll work. I don't see why it wouldn't. Close-up pictures of this and an explanation. And so I just want to encourage you guys, as always, to very closely examine anything you buy online. Just because somebody says it fits doesn't mean it fits. They do that to get more traffic to their listings, and they do that to sell more parts, especially the aftermarket stuff. There's just eBay is just can be a great place, but it's also got challenges, and it's got things you got to be really mindful of. So here we go. I'm gonna pause and grab a drill bit, and I'm gonna let you guys see if this works out with me. Why not? All right, I grabbed a 13/64, guys. 13/64. It's just slightly smaller than the factory hole over here, but the important thing I'm trying to make sure is that the head of my screwdriver, a stihl OEM carb adjustment screwdriver, fits, and it most certainly will fit like that. Most certainly will fit. So there you go, there's that. We're going to throw this in the DeWalt, and we're going to give it a whirl. And I think it's going to work. But this saw's been sitting so long, you guys. I have so many of these, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, because every old carb I have is not working, and I'm tired of letting them sit. I really am. So really, I need to drill a pilot hole first with a smaller bit to be safe. Would be the smart bet. So I'm going to do a little bit of a step up here and let you guys just hang out and see if this works with me. Sounds like my battery's dying. Could be the cold too. We're getting a major cold snap. Single digits and below freezing wind chill here in Lewisburg, Tennessee. Alright, here goes nothing. It's gonna be close. I don't know if I'm gonna hit that thing or not. Trying to make sure I'm not gonna damage nothing here. It's gonna be close, guys. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Well, right now the angle's perfect, but I think to get it the size that it needs to be, we might be a little bit in trouble. I probably should keep stepping it up, but just gonna wing it and go for it. Because what's the worst that could happen? It's my saw and I damage it. If it was somebody else's saw, I wouldn't do that, but just gonna go for it. Just trying to see if you guys can see or what you can see. Alright. I think it worked, guys. Oh, look at that. Let's put our housing on here. Make sure we grab the right one. See the difference? Where the port goes up there. Difference. Doesn't work. These won't fit. Trust me. Not with this style of carb. Okay, here we go. Here goes nothing. I'm just putting this on to see if it fits. I've got things to put back together. Okay, it looks like I'm hitting the housing here. And I want to see where and why. Because if there's going to be more adjustment, I need to know what I'm going to be hitting. It's kind of hard to see. Once you start putting this housing on, you basically eliminate your vision of the area I'm working in. Okay, I can get it back on the screws here. There we go. It's very hard to see what I got going here. Okay, so I see what I'm hitting. And it is, in fact, that little area I thought the screwdriver would very easily pass through. But look, there it is. And so, I think once I tighten this down, yeah, it works. Nope, can't adjust the screw. The screwdriver won't turn. So, oh boy. Well, that screw's not turning. Wow. Yeah, that screw's really tight. Brand new carb. So it's not my modification, it's just the carb screw is really, really tight. I don't know why. It shouldn't be that tight. Causes me a little bit of concern. Okay, there we go. And the thing is, guys, I could set this and just be like some people probably would. Be like, yeah, it's good to go, I'm gonna sell it. There's one problem with that. If this goes to Denver or something, and they're 7,000 feet higher than I am, this saw is probably not going to run with the carb not being adjusted. And I don't want somebody to blow up their saw. There it is. It's a little finicky to get the screwdriver through. You got to turn it a certain way. And actually, no. Once I bolt that down, I'm pushing on it, giving it pressure. It slides right in. So check it out, guys. That worked. That worked. So all we did, drill a new hole. You can see that's where the old adjustment would be for this carb. You've got your idle, and you've got your low screw, your low. And so all we did was drill one little hole, which I do not think impacts the integrity of any of this at all. This is very hard plastic, and I actually had to give some force to that drill. And so, boom. And it works with the housing on. The screwdriver does end up passing right through there. It's almost as if it was made for that. So I'm very happy it worked. And that's it. So check it out. This is an 017, and I did port this muffler. So I am going to put the ported muffler, but I thought, boy, because and by port I mean I modified it. I opened it all the way up right here, the other one, and so she screamed. And sometimes I can't help it. These old little cheap saws, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do something different. I'm trying to see if that muffler's right in front of me. I'll show you guys. Thought she was right here, but I think it's buried down in this box. Let's see. Yeah, don't see it, unfortunately. Oh, here it is. It's on another 170 I was testing. So wide open, and she screams, no spark arrestor. And here's that other carb. Both these carbs have been rebuilt twice because I thought maybe I got a bad batch of kits. So I went up to the local guy here and I bought a couple of OEM K20 watt kits. Nothing. So I know it's the carbs, and I tried them on a couple of different saws. I put this carb on this saw and she runs like a beaut, just like she's supposed to. The only problem was I couldn't adjust the carb. And so great, I'm happy, and I hope that educates you guys a little bit. One other thing is the cranks are different on an 017 and a 170. The 017 crank only has one counterweight at the bottom of it. I really should just have, since we're here, screw it. Okay. And this is another difference, is an 017 being sold as a 170. The bearings are totally different, and so this is what happens to the old 017s. I saved this crank specifically because I knew one day I wanted to do this video. One counterweight. That's it. And then the problem you end up having is, here's the 017 pan. It's one counterweight. It's set up for one counterweight. And then if you take an let's see, this is an ms170 motor. It's not apart yet, but you can see much wider. And then the difference is that there's a dual counterweight. There'd be one here and one here. And I'll try to find real quick. Don't want to break that. This is going to be off of an ms310, but just so you guys understand what I'm saying here. Oh. It's same concept. This is a much bigger crank, but the 170 will have two counterweights like that. And so watch this. You go online and you buy you a new crank for your 017, and it comes in the mail from eBay, and boom, guess what? Oh, shit, it doesn't fit. But the pan for the 310 is ironically the same size, same width. It's just designed a little bit different. Now, question, can you use the 170 pan on the 017? I would think you could, but that creates more airspace, and so I don't think the saw would be as powerful. I think the compression would be lower. I don't know. I haven't researched it yet, and I'm going to someday. I hope, again, you guys, this educates you a little bit. That's why I'm doing it. I get so frustrated a couple decades ago when I first started doing this stuff. This was not stuff I knew, and I would get frustrated because I'd order stuff that said it fit my saws, and it'd come and it didn't fit half the time, and I'm like, I don't understand. And I finally just learned by trial and error who to buy from and who not to buy from. And I learned basically to really look closely at pictures, and if they didn't have a bunch of pictures, ask, and if they didn't give me pictures, they don't deserve my money. So basically, that's the notable differences. Is carburetors are different, which means your filter housing is different. Just, it's not interchangeable, guys. It's just not. This will fit in 017. The newer style will fit in 017 or an old 170, but it won't fit. But the 017 or 018 won't fit unless they've got the right setup. And then obviously the handles and the chassis also. So as I was showing you there, this is an ms180 chassis. See, it's already got that hole I just drilled, and there's the pin, and then there's not one down here for an adjustment on an idle screw, because there is no idle screw on the 180 ms180. So even the chassis are different. Like now we see that we can do some modifications, but I just don't like to do that stuff because I like to fetch top dollar for my saws, and I don't like to do unusual things like that. If I'm doing something to increase the performance, then that's great. Now let me show you one more thing here. This is the newer 170, and even older 170s have this, but this shroud is not on an 017. This is not on an 017 or an older 170. Fuel line's green, same fuel line, but Stihl's changed their manufacturer, I presume. And then what else is there? Triggers all the same, handles the same. Oh, the newer ones are now screwed. The older ones, this piece just pops in. There's no screws here. It just pushes on, and so a lot of them are lost on older saws. But same engine displacement, and that's it. That's the differences I can think of off the top of my head. So again, I wanted to do this, and I hope it educates you guys. I hope it helps you guys, and if you come into that problem that I've been having, there you go. I'm so happy because now I can sell this saw, because these little saws, especially when local guys come by, I sell them so quickly. because they're like 11 pounds with a 16-inch bar and chain on them, and full of fuel and oil. They're under 12 pounds, and for a 30 to 32 cc saw, it's great. It's great for limbing, for pruning, for firewood, felling, 12 to 16-inch trees. I've felling 20-inch trees with one of these before. It takes a little while, but I've done it. And so it's just an amazingly great little homeowner saw. And my brother is a landscaper, and he loves these things to trim palm trees out of the bucket. He doesn't like to use a top handle for palm trees. He can't stand it. And so he trims palm trees off of a ladder and a bucket with these all day long. He loves it because of the power to weight ratio. It's perfect. So I know arborists that like these too. All right, Smallengineredemption@gmail.com. What do we have for sale right now? Okay, let me show you real quick, and then I'm gonna get done. So guess what? This one's ready. It's for sale. I just got to finish putting it back together, and I'll go cut with it one more time. I've been cutting with that carb on it, and that's why she's dusty. You can see, besides the plastic, we'll clean that out, but she's a little dirty in a few spots. I tried to clean it back up because I'm going to take pictures of it. And then let's pan over through my mess. Welcome to the mess of my shop, guys. I've got this, and that's a magic marker, comes right off, and that's just the price, and I take off 13% for local guys or for somebody that buys outside of a platform because I don't have to pay fees. That's the ms280, yeah, with my marker to show what it is. Sorry about that, but it's got the 16-inch Farm Boss bar and chain, so that's an ms280 Farm Boss. Apparently I don't think they made an ms280 Farm Boss. But the guy said that's the bar and chain that's been on it since he bought it. And then this one is an ms171 that's on eBay auctioning off right now, and I'm very happy that it's up to like 140 bucks already, and so it's doing good. And then down here we have an 18-inch brand new 18-inch Raisman bar and chain, and I did 18 because they didn't have 20s. That is the stihl 029 Super. That's a 56.5 cc saw, completely rebuilt, bunch of stuff done to it. And then over here we have this ms250 I just finished. I just have to cut with it. It's been 2 tanks ran through it, but I just have to cut with it, so it's technically for sale. I would just need a couple of days to finish running it through testing. And then I've got this McCulloch 1010 automatic I just got going, and I'm very happy. I love this little saw. It sounds cool. That's the automatic. It's got the clutch side recoil. It just doesn't have a kill switch, and so I'm trying to decide whether to sell it. But if you see this video and you're like, hey, I want that, message me, you can buy it. And then I've got the Pro Max 610 that's but it needs work. It's going to be sold as a parts saw even though it runs. I've got 2 more McCulloch 1010s that just need a little bit to get them running, and then all of these will be coming soon. So we've got a 266 XE, we've got the 562 XP, 266 XE, we've got a 455 Rancher, we've got a 440, we've got a 240, then over here I've got an 028 Super. I'm just waiting on a fuel line to come in, and then I'm going to start that rebuild. And then the riding one, MS391. I got 2 of them, but I needed just a couple of parts like that top cover, and so I finally got one that I can take the other spare parts off of. But there'll be one, and that will have this 25-inch bar and chain on it. Alright, that's it, guys. God bless you. Be well, and stay safe for your holiday.